And Trump's lawyers are already vowing to fight the charges. Let's bring in senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky at the courthouse in Manhattan, ABC News political director Rick Klein, and ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer for more with what's ahead. Aaron, Trump is expected to surrender in New York as soon as Tuesday. What do we know about those arrangements?
They're being done by the Secret Service, the NYPD, and the Court Office of Administration, Diane, and it's all going to be highly choreographed. The only thing we know for certain is that the former president will appear in a courtroom at this building behind me to enter a plea, likely of not guilty. And at that point, we'll know the charges. The indictment will be unsealed. Whether the former president has to go through all the formalities of processing like fingerprinting and the taking of a mugshot, we're not sure. His attorney, though, says he will not be handcuffed when he appears here like other criminal defendants are.
Brian, we don't know the exact charges yet. We just know what they're related to. So what do you think we can expect on that front?
I think based on what we know so far in this case, that there is some sort of attachment between hush money as well as filing false business records. I'm thinking it's going to be falsifying business records in the first degree, because that's the only felony that really relates to what we're talking about here. And that's an E-class felony. That's the lowest level of felony that New York has. You can get no jail time, or you can get 1.5 years to 4 years. And the important part about that charge is talking about the intent to defraud and the connection of another crime, that potentially being campaign finance charges.
Now, Rick, Trump is not just a former president, he's also a current candidate for president. How does this indictment affect him politically?
I think there's a conventional wisdom that's developing that says that this is a bit of a sugar high for him, that people rally around him inside his base, inside the Republican Party. But I think there's another important aspect to remember here, is that we've never seen this before. And this is also happening in the context not just of an election campaign over the next 1.5 years, but a primary campaign over the next year. And most Republican opponents of his, prospective and current, are giving a little bit of leeway because they're attacking the prosecutor. But they're also eager, in my conversations with a lot of their strategists, they're eager to see this play out and want to see how this plays out. If the field has essentially been frozen, and frankly, talking about hush money payments to a porn star, regardless of the criminality, regardless of the details of whether this is a warranted charge or not, all of that is a bad discussion to be having for a candidate. The other side of all that is that the attention's on Trump, as it often is. He is the center of attention. He is driving this, and he has showed us in the past that all publicity is good publicity.
Now, Aaron, the grand jury has heard from some key witnesses, including Stormy Daniels herself, Trump's former attorney and fixer Michael Cohen, and former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker. How critical is their testimony to this case?
Well, Cohen is certainly the key witness, because he's the one who said not only did he write the check, but he did so at Trump's direction and was there understanding Trump's mindset. He said that it was done to protect the campaign. Now, the defense is saying that Trump made the payment to keep Daniels quiet, to protect his wife from potentially embarrassing, salacious, tawdry details of an alleged affair. David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, is an important witness to bolster Cohen, because he was also in on the discussions to the payment to Stormy Daniels and understands why it was important to make that payment in the weeks before the 2016 presidential election.
Brian, what are you expecting from Trump's defense here?
I think they're going to go at the charges in multiple levels. First, he's always denied that he's ever had this relationship with Stormy Daniels. So if there is no affair, there's no need for a cover-up. The next is going to try to distinguish himself from that of Michael Cohen and the rest of the investigations. I knew nothing about this. I can't intend to defraud if I don't have any knowledge of what's going on. This was about protecting the campaign. Other people were trying to protect me, not me trying to protect myself. The other attack would be that this has nothing to do with campaign finances crimes, and so you cannot connect this to another crime, therefore dismantling the idea that this is a felony. And of course, his favorite one, this is a political attack. This has nothing to do with the law. I think there's multiple steps here that he can attack these charges.
Now, Rick, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis already tweeted that Florida will not assist in an extradition request. What's the political strategy there, and could this turn into some kind of a standoff if Trump refuses to surrender?
Well, there's no sign of that. No one asked Governor DeSantis for his opinion on this, frankly. It's not relevant if the Trump lawyers are arranging, as Aaron reported, with court officers and local authorities and the Secret Service for him to go on his own. This is a piece of political positioning. Reminder that Donald Trump is a resident of Florida, Ron DeSantis' home state. The two of them are likely to go at it in a presidential campaign that's coming. And I think DeSantis is among those who's walking a bit of a fine line here. He's attacking the prosecutor, now saying he would stand up against an extradition request, which would be an extraordinary move by a governor, even though it isn't necessary in this case. But, when he was asked about this a couple of weeks ago, he said, look, I don't know anything about porn stars and hush money. It was a very poignant and I think directed reminder about the underlying allegations, which are, of course, quite tawdry and quite harmful potentially in the context of a presidential primary. So I think DeSantis knows what he's doing by putting himself out there, even though there really isn't an extradition battle that DeSantis would be a part of.
Aaron, what are you watching for as we learn more about these charges and about the plans for what's next?
Well, I'm curious, of course, what the specific charges are, because that will give us a window into the strength of the Manhattan District Attorney's case. I think they've heard a lot of the political and, to some extent, legal criticism, but this is one of the premier prosecutors' offices in the country. You have to imagine that they've thought through any of the potential pitfalls to bringing this prosecution, this unprecedented prosecution. But in terms of the next step, we're certainly already seeing, and you can tell behind me, the presence of police officers. NYPD officers, all 36,000 of them, were instructed to come to work for their shift in uniform, a sign that there could always be potential deployments to any protests. And we know that law enforcement officials across the country spent the night, Diane, really on social media, monitoring for any signs of the kind of violence that the former president himself predicted would occur should he be indicted.
All right, Rick Klein, Brian Buckmeyer, Aaron Katursky, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.